Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Paul Altman Show. I have here one of my favorite choreographers, directors, and producer of all time, Mr. Travis Payne.
Hey, Paul.
Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure, brother. Thanks for having me. And hello to all of your viewers. I'm pleased to be here with you guys today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, I didn't really know who you are extensively until I saw This Is It on DVD.
hmm
And I could see why Michael chose you to be a part of his projects over the years,
You're too
and
kind.
because of your creativity and your greatness of what you can offer to the table in terms of not just being a dancer but also as a creative director, as I understood correctly.
hmm Well, I thank you for that. I appreciate you, Paul. And, you know, it has always been a dream of mine to work with Michael Jackson from the time I was a little boy, seeing him and his brothers in the cartoon and then getting to see the Victory Tour and, then the Bad Tour. So early on, I knew what I wanted to do. It just was about the universe aligning and ordering my steps to get here. So thank you for the compliments, the accolades. I, of course, was a part of a team that was, led by Michael. And of course, with Kenny, and during the early days, Lavelle Smith Jr., we did some great work. And I'm pleased and still so honored to be asked to do, experiences like this to talk about Michael's legacy and his brilliance and his genius and what he means and continues to mean to the world.
Absolutely, and like I said, I spoke to T.J. Jackson and his nephew. I was telling him that and this is not a part of uh this episode of the show, but I would like to say, because you have worked with him and you have experienced all of that, and I would like to say, if you know Michael made an impact on me my whole life,
Yeah.
and going through autism when I was a little boy and ongoing, overcoming it, and he made my life worth living for in terms
Amen.
of like in terms of living what you strive for, what you want to go, and what do you see how do you see yourself really.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think you're really wise. And yeah, that was one of the things about Michael. It was okay to dream. It was okay to expect great things to happen. It was okay to be in awe. It was okay to, be curious. It was okay to, try things creatively and, just really have meaning behind all of the decision making and the choices for the art. So to hear you say that his art has impacted your life, so substantially. I love hearing that, because I think Michael belongs to everyone, you see,
Absolutely.
and we all get a different experience, from and because of him. So, I love to connect with his, what I call the Michaelverse. I connect with his fans in whatever way I can, just because I know that each and every fan and supporter meant so much to him. And he said it so much in private and in public, but for us that got to work closely with him, there was this bond that was just so and remains so solid between he and his fan family. So the years just seem to have flown by. That's what the old folks would say is going to go in the blink of an eye. But I've lived long enough to know that to be true in part. I will be 50 next month, you see.
Well,
So it's a
happy early
special
birthday.
time. Thank you, but it's a special time. 50 is a special number. So it is only befitting that, I make myself available, to all that it has to offer. And I'm glad to be here again with you. And thank you for asking me, and you just did. And to your point, if you want something, you go after it. You think about it, you figure it out, positive thoughts, and thoughts become things. You've got to project, you've got to have a plan, you've got to imagine, and you've got to order your steps to go in the direction of that which you want.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And these questions I have, but I'm going to be asking them at random because I thought it's more entertaining this way.
Okay.
And just that, but I just think that just helped me expand my mind a little bit.
All right.
And so the first question is that I was wondering if you don't mind and tell me and the viewers at home, wherever they're at, about your love for the dance and how old were you at that time when you started dancing?
I started dancing as a really little kid, but I started to take actual dance classes at 8. And I was in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I'm born. And I went to a dance school called Norma's Academy of Fine Arts. It still exists today. It's celebrating 50 years this year. And so I got my start there, and with Norma and her daughter, Duana, who's a creative director now. And I love dance. I love gymnastics. I loved ice skating, so I tried it all, but the dance really stuck, and then after that, I was accepted into a performing arts high school that I auditioned for, called at that time Northside School of the Arts. It's now called North Atlanta High School. And the director there was William G. Dinsmore. And I would meet my very first dance mentor there. His name was Gary Harrison. And at the same time I entered that high school, I joined his company, Gary Harrison Contemporary Dance Theater. And that was in 1985 when I entered high school, right? So that was the height of, Thriller,
Right.
things with Michael was, he was, bad era into Thriller era. I mean, Thriller into bad era, but it was a wonderful time, right? So that's when I started dancing, and because I saw Michael Jackson is why I kept dancing.
Wow. That's for me. No, you should have been my teacher.
Okay, there's still time. There's still time. Yeah. But that was all in Atlanta, Georgia. And then I got the opportunity after I graduated high school and went to Morehouse College. I got the chance to meet a gentleman who was managing Lavelle. And his name was Frank Gatson Jr. And once I had graduated and was in college, I started to visit Los Angeles because I had an uncle out here, Uncle Claude, and Claude White, Sr. And he made it possible for me to go back and forth. And I started to audition. I really started to like it. And I made the decision to move here. And shortly after moving here, I joined Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation 1814 World Tour. I was 19 years old at that time. So it was a great time. And that was, 1990. And then I would start with Michael in 92. And at the same time, working with En Vogue between Janet and Michael. So that was really where I got my start. But of course, from 92 on, we kept collaborating on various projects, as well as with other artists, many other artists, but, always coming back to Michael, and always wanting so very much to be involved in whatever he's doing, because you knew it'd be amazing and it'd be memorable and it'd be life-changing.
Right. I was about to ask you about your influences and when you learned to dance, the way you dance, the way you move, all that. But
influences. I think you get a good idea. But of course, there's also Bob Fosse. There's also Jean Anthony Ray. There was my mentor Gary Harrison. The people I grew up dancing with, and of course, I just adored seeing and still adore seeing Desmond Richardson, Laurie Warner. Baryshnikov, Mikhail Baryshnikov, Rudolf Nureyev, I would watch a lot. And of course, there was Solid Gold, which was a huge television show, which featured the hot music of the week, but it had in-house dancers known as the Solid Gold dancers. So it was male and female. It was filmed here in California. So seeing that was my first glimpse at commercial dance, beyond the training I'd had in ballet, modern jazz, and tap, but then going to see productions like Dreamgirls or getting to see Bob Fosse's dancing when it came to the Fox Theater in Atlanta made it expanded my horizons, because I was at a theater arts high school, but we were doing very much theater, not very much commercial. So when I saw the difference between New York and Hollywood, and Lori Warner helped me to see the difference. And Lori's a friend from way back. You may know her not only from the History Tour with Michael, the Dangerous Tour, actually. No, it was the Dangerous Tour with Michael. And no, it was the History Tour, in fact. Sorry, History Tour with Michael. And she also became known as Dangerous, right? She was one of my school friends. She did Broadway. She was also worked with Prince, too. She was Diamond of the duo Diamond and Pearl. And she helped me make the decision to move to California, so I give her credit. I also credit Lavelle Smith with, helping me find my way onto Janet. And then after that, I got to do Remember the Time. So when it came time to find a replacement for the great Randy Allaire, I was there and ready and had already worked with Michael. And of course, with Lavelle's urging, it just happened. And very immediately after joining the tour, we started choreographing for Michael, Dangerous being the first thing.
Yeah, I love these types of stories because because a lot of things had, let's say, people don't know. Here's an expression that my father would always say is that you don't know what it is, how the experience would go if you don't try. That because my dad used to be in a high school band.
Okay.
My mom used to be a street dancer in the 80s. I think late 80s,
right on.
Early 90s. When Bobby Brown's Don't Be Cruel album came out.
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and my mom would always tell me, I got the dancing from my mother in terms of talents and all that. My mother, like I said, was my mother. God bless her soul.
Amen. Mothers are number one. Number one. Michael and I talked about our mothers a lot. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And my mother was also in the arts, a musician, flautist, concert flautist. But yes, I mean, our parents, they give us everything, don't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that sentiment.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. I think this is about Janet.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, before this interview and all that, when I was doing my research about you, and let's see here. I don't always
take your time.
No problem. And the fact that I didn't know was that not only you worked with Michael, but with Janet, and I usually play a little rhythmation, but I don't want to get copyrighted strike, so I'm trying to.
That's right. Right. Of course, we love that. I mean, we danced to Rhythm Nation in rehearsal. We practiced to knowledge in rehearsal. Michael loved those songs, and I still love those songs. I told Janet. I told her. Yeah. And, I think she knew. But, yeah, Rhythm Nation was masterful. That's Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, producers, writing team, who then go on to, create Scream with Michael and Janet. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So of course, masterful moments, awesome moments. Did you ever have do you have the Rhythm Nation remixes like the 18-inch like vinyl? I still have it.
No, I haven't.
I still have it.
But I should get one anyway.
Yeah, that was a good thing about, singles, back then, the 80s and the 90s. A lot of times we get remixes, remix CDs that would have so many different variations of the song, and what was called dubs, which would be just these infinite instrumentals, with grooves and maybe some samples of, lyrics flying around. But for dancers, they were always so exciting, because not only did we have, the proper single release, but we had these variations in the remixes, and I love that. Rhythm Nation was always great for that. Yeah, and Miss You Much. There was a song that I still bump to this day on the Miss You Much maxi single called You Need Me. Check it out. Janet Jackson, You Need Me. It's a good one.
Okay. I was sure to do that, Travis.
Police.
And I'm gonna switch it up a little bit.
Take your time.
What is your favorite song by anyone, including Michael or Janet? Like anyone, depending on the mood. There's always that one day, that one mood. Whatever you're doing, whenever you hear, certain songs might play in your head from on the radio or on now, as music is now going on with Spotify and Apple and all that. Like
yes, my favorite Michael songs, it's hard to say, but in my top three, it's got to be Earth Song, In the Closet, and Dangerous for obvious reasons. For Janet, If, Rhythm Nation, Knowledge, and then obviously Scream, of course. I know you said favorite, but it's hard. But in addition to the two of them, of course I love Beyonce. Of course I love Bruno Mars. Of course, I love vocalists like Yolanda Adams. I've always respected, Brian McKnight's vocal instrument. Tamia, greats like Smokey Robinson and Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle, Shaka Khan, of course. And a lot of times, Paul, I will get a lot of enjoyment from listening to instrumental versions of songs because they can be different stories every time you hear it, right? So
yeah.
So a lot of times I tune into producers more so than the particular songs, right? So I always love Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis compositions. I always love Teddy Riley compositions. I always love Rodney Jerkins compositions. I always love Timbaland and Missy compositions with the vocals and without, you see.
Right.
I still listen to everything. I can enjoy the Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald and Earth, Wind and Fire, obviously Stevie, but could go Ariana Grande, Billie Eilish. I can go, Megan. I can go Cardi and Nicki. I listen to all of it. And then some new artists. One that I'm managing he's out of Japan, named Sho Hirasawa. Sho, the artist Sho. And so we're working on his first album. So I'm very excited about what we're doing. And so we'll be able to share that soon, I hope, and start to introduce everybody to his brilliance. Yes, and his sound is really amazing, and it's 100% human, all done by his voice, all of the parts. All of the music, all of the vocals, all of the backgrounds, all of the harmonies. So it's taking a long time. It's really worth it and really special. And let's see. I've loved watching both Usher and Chris Brown's careers. You know,
Wow.
I've loved it. Gotten to work closely with Usher a handful of times. Um, I love their contributions to the art. Um, yeah, I know I'm gonna remember someone else that I just love, but that's okay. You asked me for one favorite anyway, and I've just been talking forever, so I'll shut up.
I think yes, but this little comment that like sparked an interest. I'm gonna show it up here.
Okay.
From Akim Black Sin. It says, Travis, this one's for you.
And where
Uh,
is it? How do I see that? I guess I could just look at the thread. I have it going over here too.
mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he said that he was asking if you like Prince.
I see that. Yes, I like Prince. I love Prince. You know, went to the Love Sexy tour. You know, I remember, Purple Rain film like it was yesterday. Um, and when I was growing up, it was, you guys have, you know, you have your Arianas, your Beyoncés, and your upper echelon. Uh, but for us, it was Michael, Prince, Madonna, Janet, Paula. Those were our sort of pop music icons that had dance music, but were super real artists that had crossover appeal and, toward the world. So, we were stands for them and still are, but that was really it, so of course I like Prince. I love Prince. My favorite Prince song is God, and then after that, probably Adore. Yep. And then of course I love The Cross by Prince. Everybody loves Purple Rain, but sometimes it snows in April. There's so many. Yeah.
Right. Um, well, for me, I don't really like the same thing with you. Is that I don't really have a favorite Michael or Janet songs because I love all the songs. Like you said, with instrumentals is different,
Yeah.
and everything you hear is different. And for me, when I first heard of, I can't remember which particular song, but I do remember it was Billie Jean, and I remember I was 7 years old. And I was this was the 30th anniversary concert,
Okay.
and to me, it's like my version of the 25th anniversary, like Motown. It's like
Yes.
my first time,
Right.
and because I was when Michael first did the moonwalk, I was too young. I wasn't born yet.
And I was probably about 7 at that point. See, so we have that in common. I remember exactly where I was in my family house in the basement, staring at the TV when that happened. Go ahead.
Yes, and and I think I don't exactly recall which part of the performance that I
Mhm.
saw, but I caught a glimpse because my father would like to change the channels,
Don't
and
they all?
so I'd stop my father from changing the channel, and actually watched him do the moonwalk. So the reason why I was so glued up to the TV for me when I was 7 is that I didn't know at that time that someone at that particular time in their lives could still pull off the moonwalk and still amaze people, and 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 just have that people, that security, like, oh, I witnessing something great, and no
Yeah.
one is gonna really understand this greatness until
Right.
it's too late, and that's what clicked for me. So for that point on, I started to practice myself in the moonwalk, and
Yeah.
I remember a lot. And for me, when I, after high school, during high school, um, because I was out socially outcast as the misfit and
Mhm.
out in some way, and for me, when being had that impact at that particular time between 16, 17, 18 years old. Fast forward after my first time watching Michael, I started to use Michael as a coping mechanism and practice. And then I went on to in front of the whole. There were 1,400 staff and student faculty, and I did Billie Jean the way that Michael did. I went bow and then bow and did the moonwalk the same way like Michael. And
did they do it? Did they do it?
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. I remember that very particularly. And my mother is my number one supporter. And mother knows, and she knows how much Michael meant to me, not just an artist, but what he did outside of music, which is love and caring for one another, and making sure that the future generations of fans will understand that you can dance and you could do a lot of good things if you put your mind to it, and always follow love, which is LOVE.
That's right.
And I always practiced it. I practiced it even before I even do a little show at the high school at the time. I always preach love, which is I tell them, I say, you can overcome every obstacle in your lifetime. If you want to go for your dreams, you got to work hard and be very dedicated to your work.
I agree, absolutely, Paul. And I think we're all beings created in and from love. I think we all have it in us to be loving. I just think that some people don't learn how to, or learn how to be, have any sort of positive reinforcements, right? So I feel like we get further and further away from our loving sort of natural selves as we get older and as we get more experienced in the world, but it's up to us to try and stay connected to that, that spirit, that innocence, that childlike nature, that was really just love, and just giving love and enjoying receiving love, so it's a very simple concept. It's just very difficult for everybody to get.
Absolutely. I'm gonna ask a different question.
Okay.
What's it like I said, with doing my research, what was it like to work with TLC? Am I correct on that? TLC?
Of course, yes. Well, I'll tell you a quick story. Chili was a middle school classmate, right, in Atlanta. Right. They're from Atlanta, and I think Tion's from Ohio originally. But yes, we grew up in Atlanta together, going to the skating rink, that was called, Greenbrier Skating Rink, and then later Jelly Beans Skating Rink, and it was our, where us kids would go to hang out and practice dances. And, Jermaine Dupri came out of there. All the Atlanta scene, that was the thing that we did on the weekends. We went skating. And so that was just a thing we had in common. So once TLC was formed, we knew about it because at that time, when I was telling you that I was in the dance company, Gary Harrison Dance Company, we'd be on shows together. And that was when I saw, whoa, my, school friend, Chili Rosanda Thomas is in this group now, and they're doing good. So, of course, we were fans, and they were from Atlanta, so that was even more of a reason to love them. And we first worked together on, I believe it was Red Light Special, their music video, Red Light Special, directed by Matthew Ralston, dear friend, and great artist and director, visionary. So that was where we first worked together professionally as adults. And then I think after that, we went on to do award shows like BET Awards, I think the Blockbuster Awards. But we had some time together, but then unfortunately, when the tragedy happened with Lisa, and everything, paused for them, we haven't had any opportunities to really reconnect. T-Boz and I did actually work on a pilot for a television idea, and I did get to go on her reality show a number of years ago. But yeah, I love them. I love them. And those were some special moments, along with Lavelle and Rich and Tone Talawega during those years. And Courtney Miller Jr. was also there. Yeah, we had some good times. Yeah, we did. We did our versions of Waterfalls, Kick Your Game. We did live. And like I said, Red Light Special music video.
Right. And for me, I love TLC. They're a great group.
Yes, they are.
And for me, I hope that I hope to hear more music from them.
Oh, I think it'll be necessary because their fan base is too loyal. They've got to do something, even if not full album, hopefully an EP this year or a tour.
Yeah,
would be great. Yeah, because they still can. They still can. I think they can still pull a really substantial audience, and their fan base is broad enough, globally, that I think an EP at least or a full album would be right on time. I think people will welcome it with open arms.
Right. That's an interesting story for
Which
me.
one?
Yeah. I think all of it when it to the artistry and just building up, coming back strong, and see what they can what they have to offer is basically the main key.
Yeah, I think every artist. I won't say every artist because that's general. Most artists took the pandemic and the time off to reassess and really determine what is most important and most valuable. And I think a lot of artists miss the ability to tour and travel. I know that my work was cut substantially because we couldn't get on planes. Hollywood was completely shut down. So I think that everybody now that 2021 is showing us all some relief, although not out of the woods yet. Getting to return to work, getting to return to production, getting ready to plan tours. MJ1 is coming back. It's going to open, in August in Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. Broadway production's coming. So it's good to see things happening. So to your point, yeah, I think like everyone else, TLC has the opportunity, to come back and do something great and really special.
Right. And before we get back into the Michael, I believe there's one comment that someone wants to ask you.
Okay.
Random Man asked you, Travis, I want to ask you what was the best part about working with Michael?
Best part of working with Michael was that he was so giving of the information and the knowledge and the education that any artist gets from working with Michael Jackson is invaluable and something that you cannot buy. And it's not taught in schools. And it's only through the experiences and going through those tough times and the triumphs that one really understands the gravity of what Michael's work and his art mean. And so for me, I loved all of it, but being able to, over time, go from dancer to choreographer and then to, associate director and producer for This Is It. My favorite part was always getting to contribute and Michael being very aware of when it's time to go to the next step or the next level. And he would tell me, get the cameras, shoot stuff. It's time to direct. People won't know what happened if we don't film it. So being a great mentor and a teacher and a brother and a confidant and a friend, while being a great boss was my favorite part of the experience.
Right. Um, that's always interesting me. Um, well, I was gonna ask you about what was your experience. What I think Ram already asked that question.
Okay.
That made you strive more in life outside of entertainment. Like what was the advice for you? I mean, you don't have to, you even don't want to.
What?
Um, in terms of like in terms of like outside the music, outside the entertainment, what was the best advice you have received from him about anything that you took in strive? What was it in your opinion?
Pray for them. That was it.
Pray.
Pray for them. If you're going to have conflict with people, it's about how you deal with it, right? So Michael, more than anyone else, knew how it felt to be, victimized, right? So even in those moments where I would literally ask him, how can you deal with this? How can you endure all of the things that would be coming at him at times? And he'd say, I pray for them. I pray for them. I pray for them. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Very spiritual man. So, it puts it in perspective, and even in this moment, knowing that, really want to get philosophical about it, our ancestors did not go through all they did. We have not all come this far to throw in the towel or succumb to negativity. We have to keep pushing, we as a people, not just as a race or not just as a class, or just as a religion or anything like that, but we as a people, as a civilization, have got to keep pushing forward and trying to do better because more is required, right? And so try to stay right-sized about all of that and know that, it is important to be honest and focused, and trust in the timing, trust in divine timing, trust in it, trust in the universe, God, or however you identify with the power greater than oneself.
Oh boy.
That's okay. I'll take a snack break. So I definitely can see you guys in the chat while Paul's doing his thing and getting it back right. So do you want to ask me some questions while he gets it back?
Sorry, I didn't know what.
That's all good.
I don't know.
We were fine.
I don't know what happened.
We were good. We were fine. I was just telling them in the chat if you had any other questions. And I see that Mika and Blackson wanted to know if I'd work with Michael before Bad or start working with him during Bad. I actually attended the Bad tour as a high school student, and it was in seeing Michael in the Bad tour that I decided that's what I want to do. I'm going to work with Michael Jackson. I'm going to figure that out, whatever that means, right? Because I saw him with dancers where his brothers were, in the previous tour that I'd seen, but they were male dancers this time. So that's when the heavens opened up for me as far as what I wanted my direction to be. It was seeing Michael on stage with, it was Lavelle and Eddie and Randy and Dominic Lucero. And those guys, seeing them with Michael helped me absolutely determine what my life's work would be.
Right. Even though I can hardly hear you at the moment or see you.
Oh, that's okay. Is it a connectivity issue? Do you need to? What if you log off? Would it throw me out too, or do you just want to take your time and do your thing, and I can try to answer some questions in the chat? Do you need a little more time? You tell me. I'm in no rush.
Hold on.
Okay. We're good. We're over
Can you
here.
hear me? Or can you see me?
Yes. I can hear you and see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank you for the heaven.
Oh, it's all good. Take your time. We're just chilling. I hope you don't mind. I have a grape.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Again, I'm gonna mix up the questions.
Sure.
Speaking of somebody within the Jackson family, we have seen recently with Paris, Michael's daughter, Paris, with her career in folk music. And did you know this was going to happen at some point?
I don't profess to know everything, but it seemed logical to me that the children's talent would be nurtured just by virtue of who they are, right? And who their family are. So I was ready to hear music or see film or anything creative from them, and was always curious to know, what their callings would be. I know that Prince, the older Prince, went, and had film classes and is studying filmmaking, so I knew that there was always creativity around them, and they had the things that they liked, but it was just about seeing what would really stick and what would catch on and what they really gravitate to and find, a lot of passion for. So I'm thrilled that Paris has embarked on her career as a singer and a songwriter and an actress. I'm so happy for her. Kenny and I got to see her not last year, but the year before, I believe.
2019.
And
I saw
we
that
saw
on.
her. Yeah, we saw her at Miss Elizabeth Taylor Foundation's screening. We went to a movie screening in Hollywood at the Mondrian Hotel, and we bumped into Paris, and she was a grown young woman. The last time we'd seen her was at Staples Center for the memorial, you see. So to see her grow up, to see all of the children grow up so wonderfully, in spite of everything that they've been through, is just a blessing, and I could not be prouder, for them and of them. So, being able to finally see after all those years Paris and be involved and participate in her Facebook special, her episode, her web series, was really great. So I'm excited to see, what the future holds for all of them.
It always amazes me how people can easily send a good positivity within you, no matter. I think that now the younger generation, now when it comes to entertainment stuff, they always know how to pick a certain thing they want to give out to the world as if they were their last. And with Paris, I like always. I always see the best, and the great from all of them, no matter who they are, no matter where are they in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You will always see, what, how much they grow, how much their talent has been nurtured, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
All that, I think, all of that has came from a loving place that is I want not necessarily unspeakable, but in terms of just show them what your envision is,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
always have your support system. And that's what I believe in.
Absolutely. You can't do anything alone. Everybody needs somebody, see? And it's so fortunate when you've got a good support system. It is. And I think anybody, artist or not, it's necessary to have a great, strong support system because we don't know everything, because if we did, what would be the point? There'd be nothing left to learn, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to a little bit of favorite songs real quick. For me,
Okay.
like I said, I don't really have a favorite Michael song, but I do have one song that is a part of my soundtrack of my life, which is Childhood. I can't see it.
That's a good one. Yeah. Childhood is a major composition with a major message. And yeah, it makes me, I get, there's some songs of Michael's that still make me emotional. Of course, Childhood's one, Man in the Mirror is another. Of course, Will You Be There is one.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, Childhood's great. And The Lost Children, we were gonna
The Lost Children.
yeah, we were gonna put The Lost Children in This Is It, the song. Yeah, we're gonna try it out. Yeah. So, and I started listening to that one more when Michael said it. He said, "Go listen to Lost Children. I think we should try it. We should try it." I said, "Okay, great, yeah." So that one is one I knew he was looking forward to, But I mean, songs that are the songs. The thing is that the songs were ahead of their time, and they, in my mind, I think Michael was very much, and I've said it before, like a prophet, and his art was a tool to inform us and enlighten us and warn us. And when I hear songs like We've Had Enough, They Don't Care About Us, Stranger in Moscow, those things apply not only then, but now, some even more, um, you couldn't go through 2020 without hearing They Don't Care About Us everywhere, you see. So
Exactly.
yeah, so the music and the messages have always been there. It's just that we've needed bigger occurrences like COVID, like the American sort of government and all of that experience and madness, to realize how much the songs were right on the money, years ago when they were created. They were foretelling what would be the case if we did not change, our behavior. And so now we're seeing the result of not changing the behavior all over the place. And it's disturbing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You still hear me or see me?
I can hear you and I can see you just fine. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Yes,
Right
I can hear you. And
Good.
sometimes I live somewhere peaceful, and sometimes the internet is not really good. I'm going to try doing the very best.
Yeah, I understand. I've watched some of your streams before. I get it. Yeah.
I think this is the most appropriate question, which is,
Okay.
what is your favorite memory of Michael that always play in your mind every time you remember him? Like any memory that closest dear.
Hugging him and hearing him laugh. Getting a hug from Michael Jackson was a undescribable experience. Just filled with so much love and emotion and caring, and just the great brotherly hug. That was always so made you feel secure, right? Made you feel, appreciated, respected, you know. And hearing him laugh, because I was happy around him all the time. There was never a time that I was not, grinning from ear to ear with the opportunity and, what the art was meaning that we were creating, and just the ability to create at such a high level and dreams coming true type stuff, But when Michael really just let loose and laughed at something that really cracked him up, it was great, because you knew he was happy, like happy, like I like the happy laughs. Yeah.
Right. To me, people always told me that he had a good sense of humor, and he had that Peter Pan laughter.
Mm-hmm. And a huge jokester. Yeah. Great. But the most gentle man ever. No conflict. Always the same. He remained the same throughout the years. There was no pretense. He was aware of his position in the world, and his responsibilities. He felt his responsibilities to the planet. He was a wonderful family man. He was a father, a son, and a brother, and and a humanitarian, and did a lot of stuff for people when he didn't have to, and a lot of stuff for people that the general public don't even know he did. You see, a lot of his charity was, anonymous. And even though, the stuff we know about, he still remains, the person who's made the most charitable contributions. I think he still holds the Guinness record, and that's for the charity we know about. Now you add the stuff we don't know about, it's far greater.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I always before every performance I pray, and I actually prayed it for Michael.
Yeah.
They watch over me, in terms of, I want to make you very proud. I want to keep living up to your legacy, and strive for everything what you always wanted to accomplish.
That's right. Go for it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't go for it, you're gonna be mad. If you don't try, you're gonna regret it. Go for it.
Right.
What's standing in the way? Just you, right? And a lot of times that's because of fear. And Michael would say, there is no place for fear in the room. It does not deserve to be here. It has not earned a spot here, right? So leave the fear at the door. What we're doing is going to change and make history, period.
Right.
So I say that to myself. Fear has no place in the room. It does not deserve to be here, you see. So I say that to you too. And I say to everybody listening, as we get older and know more, and there's more at stake in our lives, and we perceive that we have more to lose in our lives, fear starts to become a dominant force, and it keeps people from reaching their fullest potential. So if you took the fear out of it, and you remember how you felt, when you were younger, where you were fearless, do that in your adulthood. Do that in your adulthood.
I always, right now, for me, I'm just working on producing right now, and I'm working with an artist by the name of Geppetto Jackson. If you ever had heard of him, Geppetto Jackson, aka King Aki.
Right on. Shout out to Geppetto Jackson.
And he's actually one of your biggest supporters.
I've seen the name. Yes, of course. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to him.
And he also would like to discuss some big future stuff with you someday.
Okay.
And plus, I would also love to see that too.
Yeah. Yeah. We keep it going. We keep it going, right?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, my phone's gonna die.
No, that's okay. But look at here. As we come up and we commemorate and we celebrate, I'm just showing you a little memorabilia. This was actually one of our VIP sort of ticket thingies. And I don't know if you can tell, but that's reflective.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah, so it changes perspective.
I love it.
Right? See, look at that. Can you see that?
Yes, I love it.
So send me your address. I'll make sure to send you some. And then this.
I will. I'll text it to you.
Yeah, and then this is these are Blu-ray discs, right? But they were wonderful commemorative versions of the film with extras, you know. But it's send you this too if you want.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just a wonderful keepsake because they were limited editions, and yeah, and so they mean a lot. And I thank you for this, and so I want to share these with you because I think they'll be safe with you, right?
Yes, they will be safe with me.
They will be safe with you. And Paul, oh, and I also got this for you. Let's see. Before your phone dies, just to give you a little show and tell, because I know some of it's nice to see imagery. So this is actually from the history tour, all right? Can you see that?
Yes, I can see that.
Right.
I think you showed that to Michael Trapson.
Yeah. And then this is it. Can you see that?
Wow. Yes.
That's from Japan. One of our great friends in Japan made this one. And yeah. And then of course I just he's always here, you know, so whenever we're shooting, he's sitting here watching anyway. So
I love that picture.
I do too. Kenny took this picture actually. You'll see that there's one, it was on the same day. I took a picture of Kenny and Michael, and then Kenny took a picture of Michael and I. So we both have this picture with Michael. It was our, I suppose, among our last images with him. Yeah.
Sometimes it makes me cry because it was
I cried
the
earlier
last.
today, Paul. I cried earlier today. I'll cry more tomorrow, you know, as we get to the 25th. And, you know, but it's okay. You know, we've had great times. We have the great memories. We're left with the great art, the great songs. There's no replacement for the man, you know, but it's better than no art and no great work left behind at all. Yeah. So generations to come can be influenced by the great Michael Jackson and all that he means to the world.
Absolutely. To properly close this live stream and interview on a positive note, is that always remember to always keep smiles, even though that your times are down. Always let love lead the way. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100,000,000%.
Amen. Amen squared. And do you know, when you said smile, it makes me think of Smile. Who wrote Smile? Do you know?
Charlie Chaplin.
You know Smile's Michael's song then, right? That's his favorite song that he said is his favorite song of all time, right? So I think it means a lot, you know, means a lot. So that's right. We smile. We smile through it and we make a change. It's up to us, right?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you, Paul Altman. And thank you to all of your viewers, all your listeners. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the summer. You know, we're in Michael season now. You know, do something nice on the 25th. And let's remember our hero, right? And let's celebrate him always.
Thank you so much. God bless you, Travis.
God bless you, Paul. Take care. Say hi to your family. All right?
I will.
See you soon. And send me your address so I can send you the merch, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.